Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Race season is upon us, so we better get our butting gear and get this thing ready to go. Our season at Peterborough Speedway starts not this weekend, the weekend after. By the time you see this video, we'll be well underway. We'll probably be in our third or fourth week. But this weekend at Sunset Speedway, as support for the NASCAR Pinty Series event they're having, they've added the super stocks and mini stocks to the card, so we get a 30-lap feature up there. So we're gonna have a go at that, see if we can make the field and have a run at Sunset Speedway. I always like racing there. It's a fun track. We got a little bit of work to do. I mean the car is in pretty good shape. It haven't really messed with it too much since it came off the track last year. We did a lot of work on it, and we only had, I think, 5 nights last year because of the old pandemic. But there's still, usual stuff we want to do. We're going to get it up in the air, inspect everything, put a wrench on every single fastener, replace missing rivets. There's always something to do on these things. But the first thing we got to do is empty all the stuff out of it, get it outside, get it washed, and get it back in here. First thing we've done is, over the winter, I put plumbing antifreeze in the cooling system for the winter. That works out pretty well. So we've got that all flushed out of it now. So we can, I've got it filled back up with water. We can seal it up. Now what we have to do, it's got a burp tank, and because you can see here, the top of the radiator is maybe that much taller than the top of the cylinder head. You have to keep an eye on that for the first couple of heat cycles, because eventually it'll pull the water in and fill up that last little bit of radiator. It usually takes 2 or 3 heat cycles in it, and it's all sorted out. We'll start our bolt check at the back here. I'll go over all the rear suspension and brakes. So first thing we have to do is get the caliper, the hub, and the rotor out of the way so we can get in here and torque the bolts that hold the spindle or the spider on. We'll check that, and then we'll, on both sides, we'll just go over the sway bar, all the pivot points, and go from there. That's the back end all checked over and done. Everything's good. I put the wheels back on. Now we can move forward. While I was working on the back, I checked the exhaust system. It's all good and solid. So now we'll get underneath the front of it and check all the front suspension and underneath motor mounts and stuff like that. Then we'll move topside. We got everything checked over underneath the front. I found a couple of bolts that moved a tiny bit, but certainly I wouldn't call them loose. So now we'll leave it on the stands because it's a lot easier on my back. I don't have to bend over so far. And we'll go around the engine compartment and make sure everything's good in here. Well, we got a lot more stuff done now. We had it on the scales. That's quite a procedure. I'll leave a link to a video about weighing these things on the downright cheap in the description box below. That's how we did it. You need some 2x8s and 12 bathroom scales, and you can weigh your race car. This ain't Formula One. It's accurate enough for what we're doing. We also checked the toe, and that was okay. That'll be in that same video. And then what I've done now was, once I've got it to this point, I start it up. I just like to start it up and let it idle and make sure that the fan comes on its own when it's supposed to at 195 degrees, and it did. While that was going on, I checked the transmission fluid. It was half a quart low. I put half a quart in it. Why it was half a quart low, I don't know. It doesn't seem to leak, but who knows? And we'll just go over, and now that it's off again, I got to double check the engine oil level, and when it cools down, we have to see if the burp tank and the pressure vacuum cap is doing its job, and the level in that should be down. And that'll just about do it, I guess. Also I went around. This fender was mashed in and pulled down. So I just got a farm jack in here and jacked up this fender brace, and I used a long piece of wood and a hammer and whacked the fender back out. Good enough. It covers the wheel. That's what we're concerned with. And I got the old rattle cans out and went around and did a few paint touch-ups. Replaced a few rivets that were missing. Fixed a couple of sharp edges. I think we're in pretty good shape here. I also serviced, it's a serviceable air filter, so I serviced that. It was just like black before. Now you can see that nice Edelbrock red filter element. So that's good and cleaned up. We're in good shape here. We're ready to go racing, man. So I guess it'll be a few days before I do the end clip of this video, and I'll let you know how we made out at Sunset Speedway. I really like Sunset. It's a really nice facility. The mini stocks up there are pretty decent cars. I mean, there's some really nice iron up there, as opposed to, you know, a derby car with nice tires like what this thing is. But anyway, hey, we'll go there. We only have 2 goals. Goal number 1, make the show. Goal number 2, don't finish last. So long as we can satisfy those 2 objectives, we'll consider the day a success and have a good time and see a bunch of our buddies that we haven't seen for quite a while. So I'll be back in a little bit once we're done up there. Oh, here we are. We made it through our day at Sunset Speedway unscathed. We finished like 11th out of 20 cars. We had the wrong gear. We had the wrong springs. It was a disaster, but we didn't make fools of ourselves too bad. So now here we are. It's opening night at Peterborough Speedway. And what we're doing now is fan appreciation. You see, we bring out all the cars on the straightaway, and then they open the gate and let the fans come down, and we hand out candies and do a kind of a meet and greet. Unfortunately, I forgot to order a stack of hero cards to sign and hand out to the kids, but I'll have some for the next time we do it. And so far, our night's been going pretty well. We got 3rd and 2nd in the heats. So we should have a decent starting position for the feature, and we'll see what we get from that. It's a beautiful night. The staff at the Speedway here did a tremendous job getting this place put back together after that crazy windstorm we had last week. I can't believe this place is even open. And wow, great turnout of cars. The stands are packed. What a great night at Peterborough Speedway. Well, we made it through that, our first night of racing at Peterborough Speedway. I was a little bit concerned because we'd thrown some different stuff at the car the other week when we went up to Sunset, and it was driving, well, less than spectacularly. It was pretty wild on the brakes getting down into the corner, and I couldn't make up for that because we just had the wrong gear for Sunset in it, and it made it even worse that I was scrubbing off so much speed getting down into the corner, so that exasperated the problem. And a lot of times it was just bogging out coming up off the corner. But anyway, we got to Peterborough and all that. I've always been, I don't want to say uncomfortable at Sunset, but it's not, I don't race there all the time, and it's kind of, you know, out of my element. But man, we rolled into Peterborough on Saturday night, and as soon as I got out on the track and started scrubbing the tires a bit, I said, "Hey, baby, this thing's working pretty good for here. I don't care how it works at Sunset. It's working good for here." So we didn't end up having a pretty good night. I apologize as usual. I don't know what I did pushing buttons. I completely screwed up the camera, and I got no footage at all from the race. I wanted to intersperse a few little clips here and there from the race, but how it went was this. Pardon me. We had decent runs in qualifying. In the 2 heat races, we were 3rd and 2nd. Excuse me. So that meant we qualified basically for the third row, right? We were fifth or sixth qualifier. And when they rolled the dice for the invert, if there's less than, I think 16 cars or less, they roll one dice. If there's more than 16 cars, they roll two. We had exactly 16 cars, so they rolled one dice. The invert was 5. So that put us from 6th. No, pardon me. From wherever we were, we ended up, I'm bad at this, but we must have been 4th qualifier then, because we ended up on the outside of the front row. But the guy that had actually, due to the invert being awarded the pole, he destroyed his car in the second heat race. That was really something. He was beside me. I was passing him coming to the checkered flag in our second heat race, and he was on the outside of me coming off the 4th turn. I knew I beat him. It's hard with that. We got that stupid head and neck thing, so I can't really turn my head this way in the car anymore to see out that side of it. I basically, what I can see in the overhead mirror and my door mirror over here. But anyway, he wasn't there no more, so I figured I'd beat him. And we took the checkered flag, and as I went down through 1 and 2 on the cool-down lap, I noticed the red lights were on. So I stopped. Anyway, what had happened is this guy that I'd been racing for second place with, it's a Cavalier, and any of us that race Cavaliers, the rear hubs on them are weak, and coming off the 4th turn, his right rear hub broke. And because he's got drum brakes on it, one advantage of running disc brakes on the back of these cars, when the hub breaks, and I've broke one before, the rotor and the caliper and everything sort of helps keep the wheel with the car a little bit. But with the drum brake, the hub breaks, boom, wheel is gone. And he backed her hard, man, into the 4th turn wall. He was okay, and the car basically, it's not really anything that'll keep it from racing. They have to saw it off, probably the back foot of it. It's just tube and a bumper and nothing really severe. But anyway, because he couldn't continue the rest of the night, we ended up on the pole. So that was pretty good, I thought. So we came down for the start, and on the outside of me was one of the Integras. And those things are pretty hot. I think they run them in 2nd gear, or maybe they've got a really deep 3rd gear in them, but they wind the snot out of those things. And me with my automatic transmission, it's hard for me to get that jump when I'm on the front row to beat the guy to the 1st turn. Sometimes I can, but those Integras are pretty tough to beat. So anyway, he got me. We ended up having a red flag because a car behind us had a big engine fire. So we got a complete restart. And the second time I said, okay, I'm gonna come around a little faster. Once the pace car pulls off, I'm gonna speed, just slowly roll into it and speed things up a bit. So my tack needle is a little further up when I punch it, and the engine's a little closer to that sweet range where it's going to make power. And it was a lot better. I managed to keep them beside me through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Next problem I have is it's still a little tail happy on braking. I've actually got the car going faster now. It runs really good. So for years and years and years, we only used the brakes just to kind of set the front of the car back down so it would cut into the corner. Now I find I'm actually using the brakes to slow the car down so it'll turn. And because I'm getting on them, it's either the back is light or it's getting a little squirrely. So what we're going to do is, last summer we took the spoiler off of it. I'm going to put the spoiler back on and see if that packs a little more weight onto the back wheels and kind of nips that in the bud a little bit. But I mean, aside from that, we made it through the feature. There was a couple of, because we get inverted, there were some fast guys behind me, and one more of them got by me. So we ran 3rd for most of the race, and then a late yellow came out and bunched the field up. There was one guy with a pretty good prelude. He was, 6 or 8 cars behind me, and he was coming slowly, but I don't think even if he got to me, he would have been able to pass me. But on the restart, again, he just got me a little bit on the restart and got in front of me. But I did manage to hang with the top 3 guys until the end of the race. So we came home 4th. That was pretty darn good, I'd say. Anyway, again, sorry, no footage, but that's how she goes. So what we're going to do, I've got a couple of little ideas how I'm going to fix up a couple of little driving things that were bugging me. Another problem we were having last year is that it was laying way over too much onto the right side when it came off the corner, and it was spinning the left front wheel, which makes the car slide up to the fence, and you can't put the power down. You lose speed, you lose time. So we jacked some weight around in it at the beginning of this season, which tremendously improved that. That's probably at 90 or 95% improvement now. So what we're going to do, I'm still a little light. I'm allowed 55% left-hand weight. So we're at 54.3 or something. So that's good. I'm going to put some lead right on top of that left front wheel. We've done that before and it helped. And I'm going to put the spoiler back on it. And we'll see how it is this Saturday night. Anyway, that'll do it for now. That's enough of me going on and on and on about race cars. For those of you that are interested in that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope you'll tune in again. And until then, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. So long for now.